Chapter 2 of The Great Scroll of Banciao, read by the illustrious Trista de Genova. Chapter 2 The next scroll page. The scroll page below that one reads as follows. George Orwell also fell down here. These guests, Bill and George, wanted to talk about their experiences as likenesses of beings and as witnesses to some very interesting things to take place in the future. They were apparently cell unit mateys, cellies, in the same run-down four-story Banciao apartment on Huaide Street in Banciao City, my hometown. The world stopped making sense a long time ago. The world stopped making sense, so I fell asleep. I just woke up from a long, refreshing nap. Bill's completely redesigned the apartment while I was asleep. The place is more spacious now. We cannot chat. We must yell across the flat. I tell him, I liked the place better before. He says, well, I'm not moving it back. I ask him for some bing kwai, and here there's an editor's note. It says, we gauge bing kwai to be small cubes of ice that were once widely available, used to chill bevies or drinks in cups and glasses. Then we hypothesize that bing kwai's extinction created inexplicable rage and frustration in the majority of those suffering from its inevitable withdrawal symptoms. So back to the text. It says, I ask him for some bing kwai by making a square shape with my hands and pretending to pop something in my mouth, but he just finished the last one for the day. It's the only treat we want. Ice. It's fun to chew. Plus, I can almost see a prism of color in it if I look real hard. You fucking bitch! I rage at him in conversational Chinglish for lack of something better to do, but it is useless. He laughs at my impotence as I shake my bald fist at him. He cannot hear me through the plate glass plastic dividing us, only see me screaming at him like a newborn. Ouch, that hurt. I bite my fist, pretending it's his nose, and then punch myself pretty hard. I feel something being sucked from me through my tuber. So I hit myself a few more times for good measure. Exhausted, I slip to the floor again. He looks at me sardonically, then goes back to smoking a plastic cigarette while huddling in the corner. He's no doubt waiting for some more drugs to be delivered. I, on the other hand, am at the end of my electronic tether. Literally, the blue name band starts sending short shocks through my wrists as it sucks out the adrenaline my system has just produced in this fit of rage. It keeps them happy. That's why I did it. It makes me feel like a productive member of society. Oops, I nearly overstepped the physical parameters that have been predetermined for me. I go to the kitchen and fix today's ration of pot noodle. There is a choose between seafood flavor and neo mian or beef noodle soup. The plastic-based liquid in the electric plastic kettle soon comes to a boil and turns itself off. Since everything is actually recycled plastic, at least we are living wisely. Recycled plastic is the only material that is now available to us. I open the packet, pour on the water, open 2 plastic sachets, one of spices and one of dried vegetables. I pour boiling water on the noodles, carefully spreading the spices and dehydrated vegetables. The noodles puff up at once. They are Buddhist-friendly sushi victory pot noodles, produced in the underground in a frowsy shop in Snake Alley. It's near what is today the Longshan Temple ruins, which has been tarmacked over like the truth. I take a packet of Victory Pot noodles, unwrapping each individually wrapped noodle individually, and smash the individually wrapped Victory crackers with their individually scented Victory chive aroma. I can't wait to dig in. I unwrap the plastic from some wooden sanitized Quitzer chopsticks and shift the crumbs of Victory into the liquid. It may sound like glorified dirt, but it's not at all bad. In fact, it tastes kinda good. It's all a drug anyway, right? And here's the brilliant illustration by the creative genius Mark Proul. You must wear a mask. This is the George Orwell character, channeled character, who is punching himself. Punching himself in the sight of the other character, who is the channeled William S. Burroughs. This is the channeled William S. Burroughs, also illustrated by my favorite living artist, Mark Perrault. I must have been very depressed to sleep that long. I slept on the floor until I could sleep no more, until it was too painful to lay down anymore. I took to bed like a refuge. My dreams were like the Yellow Submarine. And once during the middle of the night I was torturing myself in my sleep, until I woke soaked in sweat, telling myself to stop the madness. This depression, this fear of the virus has paralyzed me, and everybody who might still be around. On one hand, it is depressing. You can't say, go for a walk or into a fast food restaurant anymore. Industry has collapsed, but we have given birth to the return, the rebirth, the renaissance of a secret cottage industry resistance. For example, I could tell myself that this is all just fiction and make it go away by not believing it anymore. That might work, but perhaps the virus has done me a favor. I no longer have to teach little friends, as we called them in my pre-viral profession. There don't seem to be any kids left. I think we're all sterile, but we may just be celibate. And so now I have every freedom I need to survive for the time being. But that's all I have, and all we have, at least for the time being, the freedom to survive. The length of this thing is indefinite, and therein lies the problem. We are all in quarantine, the mandatory evil, and as PSA repeatedly repeats, you must wear a mask. Leisurely, with all the time in the world, I peel betel nuts after the meal, and spread some lime paste and wrap it with a bitter leaf to make the juice easier for other people to swallow. This is my only permitted vocation now. I love my job. Beanlang is my only friend in the world. However, after the first one, I'm not allowed to chew them, only to make them, so it is quite